Hey guys, so lately I've been enjoying these little bite-sized bits of art history and letting a little TV show decide what I'm going to learn. But today I thought, why don't I just go to the library and look at the books on the shelf and see if anything just catches my eye. And then of course I remembered that our libraries are kind of empty. This is literally all the art books and half of it is photography, which is kind of a disappointment. And I did find two books, one which you have likely already seen, and the other one is a famous artist named Hokusai. Probably the most famous print is this one with the wave. I think everyone has seen this before, even me. And today I'd really like to pinpoint exactly what I love about his art, see if I can use some of that in my own art today as an experiment, specifically what's different about it. The most obvious feature of this work is that these are block prints. And I'm not really prepared to try block printing today. But there are things about the art that I think that I can kind of play with that are kind of specific to the limitations of block print. First of all, it's very flat. There's very few colors. But the thing that I really like about his art is actually the tiny little repetitive details. I love this tree that was just a single print of a leaf used over and over again. I like this one, which is little tiny triangular dots meant to represent a forest. He always seems to leave these nice big spaces for your eye to rest so that it's never overwhelming. It's somehow extremely busy and detailed, but also restful, which is something that I struggle with a lot when I do something that's really detailed and has a lot of stuff in it. But that restful space isn't boring. It still has that wood texture to it. And of course I love landscapes, so I might try to do a little landscape today. He also loves to do like daily life images. He has entire books of erotic art, which I guess we're not going to do today. But yeah, let's just see what happens. So we did just go to Port Coquitlam for a walk on the river. And you know I always like to do local animals. Like I used to love just drawing all sorts of like exotic birds, colorful things that we don't have, but now lately it just seems kind of like impersonal. Anyway, that's not important. So I did have a picture of a mountain. Luckily we live in a very mountainous area, so that's one connection there already. And there's some trees here. Then there's also these really neat power lines. And they do this neat little swoosh. Just trying a thumbnail to see if I can combine one of these landscape pictures with a picture of a hawk. It's kind of, the hawk was kind of the only interesting animal that we saw. Because maybe I could just put the hawk here. You know? And how about we try out this Magnani 1404. This is a free sample they gave me at the art store. I tried the hot press one. I thought it was a really cool texture. And this one's a lot more normal, so maybe it won't be as exciting. But look at this dish that I thrifted. And when I saw it, it was next to some like pet plates. So I thought, wow, maybe this is some like neat little slow feeder dish. So unique. I can use it as a paint palette and no one would know. And then I noticed that it was olive branch shaped and I realized, oh, this is an olive plate. But that's okay. I just thought maybe it'd be more interesting than seeing like this mess. Now, what I would normally be doing is I'm doing it right now, is I'm going to do sort of an outline. But normally what I would do is I would just kind of outline the shape and then I would go in with my paints and do this like delicate paint around, add some shadows and stuff, where in this wood block style, obviously we're not doing wood block, but I just kind of want to play with the style just to feel how different it is, see how I feel about doing these trees, for example, learning how to do foliage properly later this year. I don't know, there's just so much hype around classic oil painting. You know what someone said to me the other day that was surprising and interesting, I guess? Strange. He said that he liked how my art had sort of sharp, angular lines. And that's not really something that I would have thought about. And while I'm yapping, I'm going to do the tree line first, just to kind of get into a wood block focus. I want to say orange and blue. I'll mix in this green to make it brown, I guess. I could do green. Yeah, sure. Let's do green. I'll do like a yellow green. How about that? Just to make it more tree-like. It's more like sunsetty in this picture. Anyway, so angular. Anyway, yeah, so he said I had angular lines. Of course, they're sort of like blowing smoke, right? So he's saying like, you know, it's a sign of maturity. People start getting into art and painting. They're all about organic lines and organic shapes. And I thought that that was actually kind of funny because I do distinctly remember in high school being like, oh, I much prefer to draw organic shapes, these beautiful looping lines that feel really relaxing. And I'm wondering like how many of you would relate to that, being like, I don't want to draw shoes, still life objects in my house. I only want to draw leaves and branches and organic shapes. That's what I want to draw. That was me. That was definitely me. So I thought that was kind of a funny comment. I had no idea what he meant. In a way, it's kind of true because these posts are very like a very straight edge, and maybe that's just something that we naturally shy away from maybe in the beginning, because like looping organic shapes are very forgiving. Get away with a lot of inconsistencies and inaccuracies. This is very yellow actually. I wish I could have done this a little flatter, not had this little seam in the middle. I've been moving too slowly, and it might be a pain in the butt to paint around. Downside to pencil is that once I paint over it, it's kind of permanent. So if I can delete it before I paint over it, that's ideal. I have a feeling this is going to be a really quick practice. I'm going to use a larger paintbrush so that I can cover the area before it gets dry. The question is, how am I going to make it an interesting enough texture? I mean, technically the paper has its own texture. Like maybe I can come in with a fan brush after to sort of imitate a wood block texture. Get it wet, go like this while I'm done. I don't know. Boop, boop, boop. Pick the cat hair out. Boop, boop, boop. Always want to make sure that this stays super wet. You can already see a line here where I took too long. Annoying. In fact, I'm going to leave this real giant bead of water here. And this giant bead of water here. No! I have no brush control. My hands. Not the best. Not the best. I can try to do some kind of texture here, but I'm a bit slow. Kind of works. I'm just annoyed that I was completely unable to like paint around these. What is my deal? My hands are not as good as they used to be. I guess I'll try this. I'm gonna add some of the same, whoopsies. I was gonna add some of the same silly red that I added to the green. I wanted as kind of like a blue, but a more red blue. I'm not sure what kind of red that is. It's like an orangey red. Now the mountains also have a lot of like snow texture, tiny snow texture, so I'm gonna wing it, you guys. Random speckles. The nice part is that with woodblock printing and such, it's not unlike usual to accidentally overlap the color a little bit. So if I do, it's not a big deal. In fact, it's almost more similar to woodblock printing, huh? I think I might add some brown to my blue. A small paintbrush. I really wish I had left some white trees. I might be able to paint that in later. I'm going to try to make these tiny branches a very similar repetitive shape, where it's just a bunch of sort of split forks. I'm wondering if adding another layer to the sky, it'd look a little more interesting. Like maybe like a slight bit of that green in it, just to make it look a little more rich. Now it's all dry, let's take the tape off. Which is always an improvement. I actually kind of like this. It reminds me of an old book illustration. Like it belongs on this book. And what did I do different? I did almost zero layering whatsoever. Except for like lines. Except for the sky because, I don't know, it just needed something. And I really love this like tree branch pattern. I was just doing this sort of repetitive, almost like a Y shape branch. I actually like these tree branches so much better than any tree that I've ever really painted so far. So this is really great for my exploration on how to draw trees better because I tend to overdo them and they get kind of boring when I do that. So anyway, I don't know, I really like this. I might keep this tree kind of look, except maybe I would have added a little bit more color layers to add shadows or depth or whatever. I wasn't sure with all these power lines, but I think it's fine. And yeah, I hope you try this yourself. Thanks for watching. Bye.